For months, the Celeste Rivas case has been drowning in rumors. Freezers, dismemberment, decapitation, hidden locations. But suddenly, in a single statement, LAPD wiped every one of those claims off the board. And right as the public breathed a sigh of relief, investigators made a move so rare, so legally aggressive, and so revealing that it shook the entire direction of the case. Because if police don't want you to see the autopsy, it's usually because the autopsy shows something that changes everything. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. For weeks, the internet swallowed every shocking detail TMZ published. Frozen body, dismemberment, decapitation, a freezer big enough to hide a person. But the update that just came out didn't just contradict those claims. It obliterated them. LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division spoke directly to People magazine, rejecting every sensational detail. The captain didn't hedge his words. He didn't say inaccurate or not confirmed. He went all the way. Celeste's body was not frozen, not decapitated, and not dismembered. He even backed it with logic, something none of the rumor-based reports could do. The car sat for weeks in triple-digit heat. A frozen body would have melted. With that, the freezer theory, which had dominated TikTok and Reddit for weeks, collapsed in seconds. But the debunking wasn't the headline. The real shock came later, when the medical examiner made an announcement that changed the entire trajectory of the case. Around November 24th to 25th, 2025, something extremely rare happened. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office released a statement saying, "A judge has ordered a full security hold on Celeste's autopsy. Nothing, not the cause of death, not the manner of death, can be released to the public. Not delayed, not withheld pending investigation, not under review, locked, sealed, court enforced, until further notice." This wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a request. It wasn't voluntary. The me didn't choose to hide the results. The court forced them to. And that's when everyone realized the rumors weren't the real story. The secrecy was. According to sources, the me office doesn't always agree with police requests for security holds. In fact, LAPD tried to obtain a hold back in September, right after Celeste's body was discovered, and the me denied the request. The me explained why at the time. At the time, there wasn't enough justification. That means the autopsy wasn't complete. Investigators didn't yet know what they were looking at. There was nothing specific to protect. But now, months later, the judge approved the request. So what changed? The answer is chilling. The autopsy is likely finished. The cause and manner of death are likely known. And the details are so specific, so sensitive, so crucial, that revealing them could destroy the investigation. This is not standard. This is not normal. This is not routine. Security holds are used only when the autopsy reveals information that could expose a suspect, could expose a witness, could compromise tactics, could trigger retaliation, or could tip off someone under surveillance who doesn't know they're being watched. In other words, something about Celeste's death is now considered dangerous. The next bombshell didn't come from LAPD's press team. It didn't come from People magazine. It didn't even come from the me office. It came from the Los Angeles Times, which obtained sealed court documents connected to the request for the security hold. Inside those documents, one detective described this case as an investigation into murder, not possible foul play, not suspicious death, not body concealment. Murder. This single word marks the biggest shift in the entire narrative. Because for months, the public questioned whether Celeste died accidentally and someone panicked. Now, investigators are openly framing it as intentional. And the court agreed the autopsy contains information that could harm the investigation, could endanger witnesses, and must be hidden until detectives make their move. That means, whatever the me found, it doesn't point to an accident, points to a crime. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button. During a recent interview, an LAPD deputy chief was asked straight up where the case stands now. His answer was blunt. Accountability is coming. No one is off the table, including him. There was no need to say the name. Everyone knew who him meant, David, and that statement revealed something investigators had never said publicly. They have a direction, they have a theory, and they have a suspect list, plural. This aligns with the LA Times discovery that detectives mentioned witnesses and informants. That only happens when someone is talking, someone flipped, or someone came forward with new information, and the court took it seriously enough to seal the autopsy. A coroner interviewed in the update explained what most people don't know. Autopsies of decomposed bodies take longer because heat accelerates decomposition, destroying biological evidence. Los Angeles had a brutal heat wave when Celeste was left in that Tesla. Her body sat for weeks. This wasn't a textbook case. It wasn't quick. It wasn't straightforward. So when the ME finally reached a conclusion, and LAPD immediately rushed to court, that timing matters. It means the findings were specific enough to support their homicide theory, specific enough to identify a cause, specific enough to identify a manner, specific enough to protect. This wasn't caution. This was urgency. When the security hold was denied in September, the autopsy was incomplete. But now, the autopsy is likely done. LAPD presented evidence to a judge. The judge agreed the case is in danger if the details go public. This is not normal for a non-criminal case. This only happens when investigators are preparing for an arrest, a warrant, a major search, or multiple charges, and they don't want suspects knowing what the autopsy shows. Here's the truth. No rumors, no exaggeration, just facts. LAPD has officially rejected all frozen/decapitated rumors. Autopsy details are now sealed by a judge. The ME almost certainly knows the cause and manner of death. Court documents confirm it is an investigation into murder. Police say accountability is coming. Investigators warn, no one is off the table. The autopsy contains sensitive, case-breaking information. This is no longer a story about sensational claims. This is no longer about rumors. This is now a story about silence. The kind of silence that comes when detectives are closing in. And the most haunting part, the truth about how Celeste Rivas died, is already known. We just haven't been allowed to hear it yet. Would you like to explore the verified timeline of events leading up to the discovery of Celeste's body in more detail? And as always, you've been watching True Crime Story Vault, where every story is told with facts, empathy, and respect for those who can no longer speak for themselves. For more true crime stories like this, hit the subscribe button and comment your thoughts below. Until next time, remember, the truth is never buried.